All right, good afternoon. This is Joshua Weisel here in the Weather 225 Storm Studios. We're doing a quick update just because if you downloaded our app or if you follow our social media, we mentioned that there is a chance that a tornado watch could be issued for parts of the area. And good, the audio is working. I apologize for that reverb. But here we have this area that we're watching for the potential for a tornado watch. This is a 95% chance that there will be one issued. I think at least there's going to be one for central Oklahoma and most likely our northwestern and Red River counties. And the reason for that is there is a complex of storms that should be coming together this afternoon and evening into that area. There's also something that I'm going to be watching closer to home. So we'll get into that real quick. Again, 95% chance that we see a tornado watch issued for parts of the area. Now, just a quick background on this. Not a whole lot of people know kind of what happens with these things. We call these mesoscale discussions, and it's where the Storm Prediction Center looks at the surface analysis, data from aircraft that are landing. They're taking samples from the atmosphere. There's weather balloon data. There's all sorts of stuff that comes together, and they see the area mixed with the models where there are conditions coming together for severe weather. And when that happens, they highlight an area and they start phone call discussions with National Weather Service offices within the circled area. And when that happens, they have a conference. They go, these are the counties we think need to be in a watch. These are counties we don't think need to be in a watch. So oftentimes we get these mesoscale discussions. They'll highlight an area, but that doesn't mean that every single area actually sees the watch issued. They kind of break that down and eliminate areas that they don't think are necessary for it. So there's always a chance that they'll put this over our counties, and then, maybe something like it stays in Wichita Falls and it stays just outside of our area. I'm thinking, based off of the models, that they're going to keep this at least for a couple of our northern and northwestern counties, and I'll show you that here in just a second. But the Storm Prediction Center, National Weather Service, are indeed discussing a tornado watch. So let's go to our model, and I'll tell you, these have been doing an absolutely terrible job over the past couple days. So we're kind of going off of forecast instinct, gut instinct, and there are a few models that are now leaning over towards the potential for storms in the northern half of the area, maybe even closer to the Metroplex later on tonight. That doesn't mean that we are going to see that for sure, but it's something we want you to be aware of. Now, take a look. This is 5 o'clock. I'll go up to the north. This is where we're watching for a lot of that activity in Oklahoma. I am thinking that this is 100% sure going to be a watch for parts of Oklahoma, just because we've been watching the potential for severe storms in this area for the past couple of days, and these will continue to strengthen. But some of the models yesterday were showing widespread kind of intense supercells moving into Oklahoma City, and the morning convection, if you weren't keeping up with the forecast, like I know many are not, looking at Oklahoma weather because it's not North Texas, there was a complex of showers in the morning that kind of lingered, and it basically stabilized the atmosphere just enough. So there's some stabilization that could change the forecast for Oklahoma. With that being said, it's kind of pushing the more intense activity more towards the Red River, further to the south where there's greater instability. And all the instability going into Oklahoma is sitting right over us and pushing in to North Texas and into southern and central Oklahoma. Now notice, there are still going to be storms in that area, so if you know anyone in Oklahoma City, they need to be aware of this. And like I said, the models have not been perfect with location, so it's something that we need to be watching closely. But we have been among some of the few that have been keeping our rain chances for this evening higher than 20%. And the reason for that is there's a couple of factors that could make this more with more precipitation in our area. There is a cap overhead. That is one thing. We haven't had a whole lot of precipitation this morning, and so some of these storms, when they are strong, they're going to potentially fire up along the Red River. They could move southeast and kind of back build, if you will, into portions of our area. These could be strong. Now, this is going to be a waiting game that the cap could eliminate these as they move in, or there's the potential that we could see some severe storms with primarily a large hail threat in the metro. Overall, I think there's going to be potentially more rain in our area than some of the models have been depicting. We've seen a couple of complexes here in the Southern Plains the past couple of days where the models showed that there wasn't going to be that much rain. Then it ended up being more precipitation than what was being depicted. And I'll show you here. This is 7 o'clock. Notice there's a few showers and storms kind of in our western counties. These aren't all going to be severe. But notice the complex near Wichita Falls and how that builds into the area. And notice the intensity. It kind of continues to back build. We've been keeping that rain chance up, and I'm glad that we did, because if this plays out, that means that we could see at least widespread rain and potentially thunderstorm activity. And to ease fears, when we say thunderstorm, it's just your typical springtime thunderstorm. Some of these might produce some gusty 20 to 30 mile per hour winds, lightning, and heavy rain, but a couple of these could also be severe. Now, take a look. They don't stay strong for long, but in our northern counties where that mesoscale discussion is in place, they don't really weaken too quickly. So that's something we're going to be watching. And then, of course, they start to weaken and die out, but we're taking that with a grain of salt. There could be more rainfall in the Metroplex. These will definitely be on a weakening trend on the severe side, but that means more rain potentially into the early overnight hours. And then still along the Red River, some of these could be strong, but not as strong as they were. So it's just something we're going to need to be watching. Another tool that we have that is exclusive to us here, you won't really see these anywhere else, is this is our updraft tracker. And the updraft tracker, this is more for the surface base. This is going to show you where the strongest updrafts for storms will be located. Now, updrafts are associated, severe updrafts, of course, are associated with the large hail threat, even overall severe threat. And notice how we have some of those tracks moving in 8, 9, 10 o'clock, and they don't really go away too quickly. So this is where we're watching our northern and northwestern counties, is we could have a few strong storms in the area this evening, and we're keeping a very close eye on this. Like I said, there's a chance that the cap completely eliminates these. There's a chance that we don't see any sort of storms at all, so we don't want to get too ahead of ourselves. The forecast has been uncertain. The models have not been that great. It's something we need to watch. So this isn't to make you scared and, cancel any plans that you have this evening. This is just to let you know there could be storms in the area, and we're keeping a very close eye on this activity because the forecast is evolving, and at least I think there could be more rain in the area than previously forecasted. So we're keeping that bumped up to about 40% in the area. So not everyone's going to see this activity. Not everyone's going to see rain and thunderstorms. Not everyone's going to see severe storms. But I do think that this is a trend that we need to be watching carefully, especially in our counties along the Red River. There is quite a bit of instability in the area. In fact, I'll show you that here real quick. This is what we refer to as energy, but what the term that we use for it is CAPE, and that is when the computer puts together the ingredients needed combined for energy with storms. That is the wind. We'll go to, where is it? Okay, so here's the surface cape. And this is the energy needed for storms to be fueled off of, and we'll show you it's not quite into Oklahoma yet. We're currently sitting at about 300 in Ada, Oklahoma, but right over North Texas, and this is why we're watching that carefully. And again, there's a chance we don't see anything at all, but there's enough energy, and we are going to have storms fire up northwest of us that move in. They will have a lot of energy to feed off of. We're talking 2,500, 3,800, 4,300 cape in some areas. So there's a lot of energy. That cap is in place. It's something we need to watch, but there's a lot of energy over us here in North Texas. And just to put into perspective, typically, in order to get severe storms, you need a minimum between 900 and 1,000 that will be sufficient enough for the development of severe weather. So here's a look at our satellite real quick. While that is up, I'm going to put this in play, and we're going to look at our Dallas Skycam here and see if we can get that up and running. It does look like we're starting to see some clearing here in parts of North Texas, especially to the north and west. Okay, so our camera has an ad. We'll go back to the radar. So here's a look at that. Notice that we're starting to see some clearing further to the west. We had some heavy cloud coverage this morning, but now there are some elevated clouds, but there is a little bit more clearing over parts of the area over the past couple of hours. So we do have that cap in place, but clearing skies and warm and humid temperatures, that is going to lead to potentially some storms in the area. At minimum, it would just be rain and thunderstorms. I'm not quite sure if this is updated. Let me go and look. EarthCam Dallas. And we will be answering any sort of questions in the comment section below as well. Also checking the radar. Actually, let's go look at that real quick. Okay, so this is live. So again, it is heavy cloud coverage over DFW, but further to the west is where we're starting to see that clearing. And in fact, as I mentioned that, we're gonna go to our radar product here real quick and just show you further to the west. We're starting to see some initiation. These are not gonna go explosive quite yet, just because we do have that cap. Let's check and see what this looks like with the 3D product. We'll check and see just how tall these are. I guess it's not going to show on here. Unfortunately, we are not on the main streaming source that we use, but that's a look at what we've got going on there. We'll check on Echo Tops. This is showing us how tall these storms are located. So these are roughly about 33,000 feet. Again, these aren't going to be severe right off the bat. These are going to go up. They're going to have to battle that cap, but really I think the cap is going to kind of keep these at bay for a little bit. So we're going to be watching those, but we're already starting to see some initiation further to the west, where, like I mentioned, there was a little bit of clearing. In fact, let me see if I can put on the radar mixed with that. And we'll go back to this. And as you can see, some of that clearing, we do have some of those taller cloud tops coming together near Breckenridge. This is west of Palo Pinto County. So again, these aren't going to be severe quite yet, but it's just something to watch. And like I said, there's a chance that we don't see really any severe storms in the area. I think at least we're going to see potentially some more rain activity for our northern counties and Red River counties than some of the forecasts were previously expecting. So at minimum, we're going to see rain, but this is just a quick update that there could be strong storms in the area. This is going to be a waiting game. We have plenty of energy. We have a trigger mechanism further to the northwest that will fire off storms for sure near Lawton, Wichita Falls, areas like that. So there are going to be storms in the area. It's just a question of if we see them here in North Texas, and if we see them, will they be strong or will they just be general showers and storms? So thank you for tuning in with us, and make sure that you download our free Weather 225 mobile app today. If I can find the right graph, here we go. And we're going to go all the way to the end here real quick, and I'll show you. You can download with the QR code. Make sure that you download this for notifications and for all of our forecasts right at your disposal. It's entirely free. We don't ask you to register for anything or give us any of your information. We have all these forecasts. We have severe weather tips. We have a lot more on the app that you need to check out. It's 100% free. Like I said, don't need to give us any of your information. We send out push notifications, and we have just dozens of awesome tools at your disposal on the app. So we highly recommend it. We would like to think that we have the best app here in all of North Texas. So thank you for tuning in. And like I said, stay tuned to the forecast. There's a chance we see some storms. There's a chance that we don't. It's going to be a waiting game with the forecast, but I do think that some of our northwestern counties could be included in that tornado watch in just a little bit. Thank you for tuning in.